I want to share with you the two settings that I use to prevent image retention and potential permanent screen burning on this LG C1. And I do not use any of the settings that LG has in place to prevent burning. Why? Because they are all about dimming the screen, and I don't want to affect the picture quality, okay? Especially when we want to use HDR. The last thing that we want is the screen to be dimming. So I have all the protection mechanisms off on this TV. On the service menu, TPC and GSR off. I have screen move off. Everything that means dimming, I have that off because I want the best picture quality. But I do know that burning is something we cannot ignore completely, okay? So first thing, don't worry about it, okay? A lot of people utilize this fear that people have for burning just to get attention. That's what news are all about. Is keep people glued to the screen just by fear. Don't worry about it. Just be mindful. It's something that exists, and we have some very, very bad games or programs or sports that have a logo all the time and it's undefeatable. So on those cases, we need to know that burning exists and we can do something about it. And I'm gonna share with you what I do. So for example, this game, Genshin Impact, is a beautiful game, and I wish I had the option to remove the HUD, because the HUD is undefeatable and it's horrendous. It's horrendous because when you play on HDR, especially, I'm using Auto HDR from Windows 11 and it looks beautiful. But this HUD is undefeatable, it's white, and it's trying to push a lot of nits. So it's super bright. And especially we have in the left bottom corner of the screen, we have a UID number, which is undefeatable. It's going to be on all the time on cinematics, on the game. It's gonna be on as long as you're playing the game. So especially that, because at least the HUD is gonna turn off, but especially that, it's gonna stay on the screen all the time. So if you play the game for 4 hours a day, that's gonna burn in. That it will burn in, okay? So you have to be mindful. That is an extreme example, okay? I haven't seen any game or any movie where that is the case, okay? It's just insane. A white UID number this long that is on all the time. So you definitely have to do something to prevent burning in this case. Either just play on SDR and dim the screen and affect the image quality, which I would not do. I want the best image quality because this game looks awesome. Or you can do something else, and I'm gonna share with you what I do. So I do two things. The first thing is I use black frame insertion just because I like it. I use 120 black frame insertion, so I move the camera and this is just phenomenal. Like the motion resolution is just perfect. And if you have that opportunity, try it out. 100 or 120 black frame insertion on this LG C1 is just beautiful. And the big advantage in terms of burning is that because the pixels turn on and off, because black frame insertion is basically an impulse. It's a PWM impulse that turns on and off the pixels just to clear that persistent blur. So because of that, it is less likely to burn in and have image retention. So given the same level of brightness, okay? If you compare Motion Pro on high, without, or medium, any Motion Pro, you compare that without no black frame insertion, with black frame insertion, it is less likely to burning. Of course, better than that is just to lower all the brightness and use all the dimming mechanisms. But that's not an option for me. I want the best picture quality. So if you didn't know, you know now. I did my research, and Motion Pro, it is going to mitigate in a very powerful manner the risk of burning, okay? So I'm using Motion Pro most of the time, so I don't care about removing all those protection mechanisms from LG because I'm gonna be using black film insertion most of the time. So that's why doing something on the service menu like turning module HDR on, which is gonna give you like 400 nits full screen on SDR, that's not something I would do just to get that brightness on SDR. I would use that to use Motion Pro High. So using Motion Pro High, I'm not concerned with burning because of that. So the second thing that I use on this game especially to prevent burning is I move the screen. So the screen move feature that LG has in place, it is good, but in my opinion, it's not moving the screen enough to prevent burning. So it might work a little bit, it might mitigate the burning just a little bit, but it's not moving the screen enough, and it is annoying. Like I can see the screen sometimes, it is closer to the left or closer to the right. It's annoying to me, and it's not doing enough to prevent burning. So what I do myself, I move the screen completely. So I'm playing this game, for example, I do one mission where I have to go and drink some water or go pee or something, and I go back, and this is what I do. I go to settings, and I go to aspect ratio, go to user selection, 4-way zoom, okay? And this has a disadvantage, and I'm gonna share that with you. So we use 4-way zoom, and we come here to this diagonal adjustment, and what I do is I lower that until I get rid of, so I lower that, actually I increase that until I get rid of this UID that is on the right side, bottom corner of the screen. So this game has a UID HUD number that is undefeatable and is on all the time, even during cutscenes, during gameplay. So I want to definitely get rid of that. That is just ridiculous that I cannot remove that on the game. So if I have to pay $1 for this game, I would be so upset. Luckily it is free, but this is just insane. There are so many people complaining on the internet about that UID. So that's the way I get rid of that, and also by doing that 4-way zoom, I am definitely moving the screen. So that screen is moving dramatically. So you don't have to increase this 4-way zoom that much to move the screen enough. In this case, I'm gonna tell you how many clicks I give it. So I give it 1, 2, 3. So I give it 3 clicks. To get rid of that UID on this game, Genshin Impact, I do 3 clicks. I increase this diagonal zoom in 3 clicks. But you don't have to do 3 clicks on a different game. Maybe you just do 1, and that's going to be enough. Just 1 click is going to change the position of the HUD. So by doing that, you are definitely affecting where the objects are on the screen. So that's going to definitely prevent burning. So it has 2 downsides, of course. One, it is something you have to do manually. Okay, you have to do it manually, and a lot of people, they're not gonna do that. People just want to turn on the TV, use it. But if you're watching this video, it's because you are responsible. Okay, you want to be responsible, and that's something that's not gonna bother you that much. You don't have to do it every 30 minutes. Okay, maybe you can one day play it this way, and another day just play normal. Or you can do like I do, just 1 hour or something. I go eat something, I come back and I change it. Okay, I just hate that UID on all the time. So it has another downside, and that is sharpness. If you do that, you are losing sharpness. So in a game like this, for example, which looks like a cartoon, what I do on the PC is I'm gonna use the NVIDIA sharpening filter. So by using that NVIDIA sharpening filter, I am compensating with the loss of sharpness. That's it. Just use a little bit of sharpening. And the other thing I do on the game, of course, is I increase the FOB. So the regular FOB looks like this. So if I don't have the four-way zoom, this is the distance so the character looks like this. It looks this big on the screen. So what I do to compensate for that increase, for that zoom, what I do is just increase the FOB on the game. So the FOB that I have on the game is, let me show you. That. On the game I have, and also the game has a black level raise, just in case you're playing this game. Let me see if I remember what the FOB is. I don't remember where the FOB is. Controls. Yeah, so here in control. So default camera distance, 5.6. That's what I'm using, 5.6. And this game has a calibration menu that allows you, so this adjust brightness menu allows you to set up the black level of the game. And it's very easy because we have black all the way on the screen. So this game has the black level raised insanely, very raised. So what I'm using here on the game is I am using this brightness in 37. So okay, so I'm using the brightness in 37. I am using tone mapping on to use black frame insertion, and I am using the auto HDR from Windows 11. I have the brightness max out, which is gonna try to push like 1000 nits. So 1000 nits with dynamic tone mapping on works very well. So dynamic tone mapping on works very well at 1000, 4000, and 10,000 nits. So that's it. That's what I do specifically on this game and in general. If you're playing football, soccer, you see a score all the time on the screen and you want to move that, just go four-way zoom, give it one click, and that's going to move the object on the screen. So the problem with burning is having the object on the same pixel, same color, same pixel all the time on. So Motion Pro is going to mitigate that, and if you on top of that, if you move it, then that's going to be much better. So that's what I do. I disable all the protection mechanisms from LG because I don't want to affect the image quality, and if I want to move the screen, I do it myself, and I adjust the gain accordingly by increasing the FOB and by giving it a little bit more sharpness just to compensate. And usually I don't have to use four-way zoom 3 clicks. I usually just do 1 click to not lose that much sharpness. But to be honest, this is the only game I've ever seen. This is the only game where I use this four-way zoom. The only game. I haven't used this on any other game because I don't see any other game with this issue, with having the undefeatable HUD, which is absurd, really absurd. I've seen so many commentaries online, people complaining about this because the game is awesome, man. This game is awesome, but having that is a deal breaker. It's a deal breaker. Like, I don't like to play this game. I don't like it just because of that undefeatable HUD. Not because of burning. I just don't like it. I don't like to have a HUD on the screen. I turn that off on every single game if I can. It's just stupid, man. I don't know how they can. It's just ridiculous. But what? It is what it is. The game is free. If you want to play it, you have to, just get used to it. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions.